With the NBA on TNT crew announcing the All-Star starters for the up-and-coming All-Star game last Thursday, I wanted to go back in time and take a look at some of the worst All-Star selections in NBA history. I've compiled a list of 5 former All-Stars who I think should not have been All-Stars that season. This is by no means a top 5 list of the definitive worst players to ever make an All-Star team, as some of these players have made them in the past and deservingly so. These are just 5 players that I personally wanted to bring up and talk about. How is everybody doing? My name is Gray Hoops, and I hope you enjoy this video. The year is 2004. The Eastern Conference All-Stars have just been announced. Vince Carter, Tracy McGrady, Allen Iverson, Jermaine O'Neal, and Ben Wallace would all start. Several future Hall of Famers. The reserves would be Paul Pierce, Baron Davis, Jason Kidd, and of course, first-time All-Star Jamal Magloire.
What?
Jamal Magloire, who was currently in his 4th season playing for the New Orleans Hornets, was having a career year, averaging 13 points and 10 rebounds a game on a very inefficient 47% from the floor as a center. Now, you may ask, are these really all-star numbers? Absolutely not. While he was 8th in the league in rebounding, the Hornets were actually a better rebounding and defensive team with him off the floor, and his inefficient 13.6 points per game was only good enough to place him 58th in the league in points per game. However, in 2004, the Eastern Conference was incredibly weak at the center position, with the only 2 elite centers being all-star starters Ben Wallace and Jermaine O'Neal. With the coaches getting the final selection, the 26 and 19 Hornets were an easy selection to have Jamal Magloire come off the bench for them, which is exactly how Jamal, a player with career averages of 7 points and just 6 rebounds, was able to sneak into the All-Star game a single time in his career. Magloire is considered the poster child for a non-deserving All-Star post-2000s, and is brought up in every conversation about the worst All-Stars. So of course I had to bring him up, but for the next 4 players, I want to consider some other players that haven't been mentioned as much. Warriors legend Andre Iguodala, 4 times champion, 1-time All-Defensive, savior of the earth.
One on Golden State, open shot, fate of the universe on the line, or the Martians have the death beam pointed at Earth, you better hit it. I want Iguodala. Iguodala's got ice water.
As well as a 1-time All-Star. Now, Andre had some great years in which he should have been considered for the All-Star nod. In 08, he averaged 20 points, 5.4 rebounds, and 4.8 assists. The year after that, he averaged 19, 5, and 5. Even the years after that, he was averaging 17, 6, and 6. But no, Iggy would make the All-Star team in 2012, posting averages of 12 points, 6 rebounds, and 5 assists on an awful 43% shooting at the time of the All-Star break, and 61% from the free throw line. 61%. During this time, the Philadelphia 76ers were the 3rd seed in the East, and the NBA and voters felt like the 76ers needed representation at the All-Star game. And who better than Iggy, one of the best perimeter defenders in the NBA and a player who deserved All-Star recognition in the past. Now, I fully understand the reasoning, as he was deserving of one in the past, as well as wanting representation for their team, who was currently 18-8 during the lockdown season. However, I don't agree with it, as 12 points per game on 43% shooting and an abysmal 60% from the line is not an All-Star caliber season, and one of the worst All-Star campaigns of the 2010s in my opinion. Iggy was absolutely deserving of an All-Star game or 2 in his career, and I'm very glad that he was able to add that to his resume in 2012, even though it came a few years too late. I can't say that about this next player, who should have never touched an All-Star team in his career. Going into the All-Star break, the 2014-2015 Atlanta Hawks were 33-8 and were blowing expectations out of the water, and as a result, they wound up with a staggering 4 All-Stars. Yes, you heard that right. 4 All-Stars. Al Horford, Paul Millsap, and Kyle Korver, who was an injury replacement for Dwayne Wade, all made the team, but that's not who I want to talk about. Jeff Teague, 26-year-old starting point guard for the Atlanta Hawks, would make the reserve team as well, posting averages of 15.9 points and 7 assists. Let me say that again. Jeff Teague was an All-Star. Now, some people might say that Korver was a worse pick, but I don't believe so, as Korver was having the best shooting season in NBA history up to this point, and was shooting above 52% from 3 on 6 attempts per game. Jeff Teague, who was having a similar statistical season to the likes of Kemba Walker, Eric Bledsoe, Tyreke Evans, and Michael Carter-Williams, made the All-Star team. This, however, is similar to Jamal Magloire, as the East was incredibly weak this year, as well as DeMar DeRozan being injured pre-All-Star break. Jeff Teague was able to slip in due to this, as well as the Hawks being 33-8 at the time of the All-Star break. Jeff was having statistical seasons similar to the other players, But the 33-8 record, as well as not losing a single game over a month span prior to the break, he was able to slip in as a reserve, and it's no surprise that Teague wasn't able to slip into another All-Star game going forward, as he just wasn't really an All-Star caliber player. Now, this next player, I fully understand why he was an All-Star this season. However, Kobe Bryant was playing absolutely horrid basketball in his final year in 2015-2016. Kobe Bryant definitely deserved to play in the All-Star game in his farewell season, however, he didn't deserve to take up a full spot. After this season, the NBA would actually implement legacy spots so players of the likes of Kobe, Dwayne Wade, and Dirk wouldn't take up a full roster spot to make up the All-Star team, as in 2016, Kobe Bryant would be named an All-Star starter, averaging 17.6 points on a disgusting 35% from the floor, 35% field goal percentage from the floor. Damian Lillard, for example, was averaging 25 points and 7 assists and was left off the All-Star team this season. Now, I really do believe that Kobe deserved this spot. However, it did rub me the wrong way that a player like Damian Lillard would be left off, but the NBA did take notice right away and they fixed it immediately with the legacy spots, so I don't want to dwell on this selection too much as it's really not that big of a deal given the situation. In the 2017-2018 season, Miami Heat point guard Goran Dragic would make his first and only All-Star appearance. Heading into the All-Star break, the Miami Heat were currently the 4th seed, and All-Star point guard Goran Dragic was averaging 17.3 points and 4.8 assists per game. Goran All-Star guard Dragic was 37th in scoring and 31st in assists league-wide, and made the All-Star game over the likes of Kemba Walker, who averaged 22.1 points and 5.6 assists, but it was on a worse Charlotte Hornets team. Chris Middleton, who was averaging 20 points, 5 rebounds, and 4 assists, as well as rookie Ben Simmons, who was putting up a solid 16 points, 8 rebounds, and 8 assists, as well as almost 2 steals a game. Now, a lot of people speculate that Goran's case is similar to Iggy's, as he made the 3rd-team All-NBA back in 2013, but was never put up for the All-Star game, and since the Bucks and the Hornets were worse teams than the Heat this year, and Ben Simmons was still considered technically a rookie, they considered to give the nod to Dragic instead of more deserving candidates, in my opinion. Goran has always been a solid guard in the league and was on the All-NBA 3rd team, deservingly so, in 2013, which is more impressive than an All-Star selection in my opinion anyway, but he absolutely did not deserve his nod in 2018, and it should have gone to Kemba Walker if I was in charge. He's definitely not the worst player to ever be an All-Star, but it's one of the worst selections in the past few seasons in my opinion. I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and if you did, consider liking this video and subscribing. I'll see you guys next time. Peace.